Right. Yeah, right.
All right,
Yep, yep.
let's get this party started. It is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 5 p.m. and you are at a Plan Commission of the City of Wausau at Wausau City Hall. Welcome, everyone. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the September 19th, 2023 meeting. I have a motion by Brueggemann and a second by Herbst. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, all of those in favor of approving the minutes from the September 19th, 2023 meeting can signify by saying aye. Any opposition? All right, that passes unanimously. Next up is a public hearing. So we have a public hearing for 514 South 21st Ave and 503 South 22nd Ave, rezoning 514 and South 21st Ave from a single-family residential zoning district, and 503 22nd Ave from a single-family residential zoning district to a planned unit development. Do you want to give a little spiel quickly, and then we'll open the public hearing up?
Sure.
Thank you.
Just bring it up here on the screen. It's kind of a mouthful, but
Yes, it is.
really what's happening is the property that there was a variety of different things. Some street right-of-way was vacated, an alley was vacated, and then there's two residential properties. One's an entire parcel, and then one's a portion of a parcel. It's probably best shown on this map in your packets, the survey. So the cross-hatched area is what's all being rezoned. Again, former right-of-way and some residential parcels. They're going to be essentially absorbed into the planned unit development that exists to the north of this property. There's a commercial development there now. There's other renderings in your packet. I can bring these up. This is the boardwalk development along Stewart Avenue. So the plan is to rezone those portions of the property, bring it into the development to the north, expand the parking, and provide a green space buffer to the residential properties that will remain to the south. So the first step really is to change the zoning of that property so that it matches the properties to the north, and it all becomes one development. So this is to change the zoning to planned unit development and approve the general plan. There'll be a subsequent specific plan that comes back to Plan Commission with details on the landscaping, fencing, and other things. But public hearing is to change the zoning.
All right, so with that, I guess I will open the public hearing. If you would like to say anything on this proposed rezone from a single-family residential to a planned unit development, welcome yourself to the podium, and you can have 3 minutes. Just have to give your name and address for the record, even if we know who you are.
Chad Hankey, 112 North 12th Avenue.
Hi there.
Alder for District 11, which this is in my district. I didn't know if Patrick and Richard were going to be able to come, so I just wanted to make sure that their letter is addressed and all their concerns are. Had a nice conversation with REI in the audience. He has some newer drawings. I would just request, if it's possible, to get those newer drawings when this comes before council. I think it would help everything get through council smoother. So that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, welcome.
Tom Renz with REI, 4080 North 20th Avenue. I'm here on behalf of the Godorsey Companies. So to Mr. Alder Hankey's point, we provided the same drawing, but we put more detail to it. We met with Richard and Patrick both at the meeting for the rezone or for the vacation request, and then I was in contact with them via email with the current plan. And things they asked for is that we remove some of the lighting in the parking lot, which we agreed to do. We're just going to stick with the lighting on 2111 building. We're changing the Army parking, and that's really what's kind of forcing this, is the military forces each have 3 vehicles that they put out. And so when we did this project back in 2006, we knew that we were going to be tight on parking. But with the current tenants and all the armed forces in that building, and they all have their own vehicles that they use for service vehicles to go out and recruit, we're going to move their parking, which is now further south on the lot, right behind, or right adjacent to Richard and Patrick's home. The reason being is that Jimmy John's traffic won't park there. They leave later at night. This is closer to their home and their bedroom, where the military services leave at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening, and so we're accommodating that. We're also doing an 8-foot fence similar to the People's Bank fence, which they requested, along the entire south property line. There's a picture of it. So it'll be the solid fence that will be right adjacent to their home. And then we'll do the 8-foot with the lattice on top along the easterly portion of the property currently owned by Gadorzi. Again, we think that that look has a softer look. So we've met with the neighbor on 21st Avenue. That gentleman is out, and he was both here at the public hearing. We met with him on site. He's very comfortable with everything. We're changing the pedestrian access onto Peoples. Apparently, people tend to take their motorcycle through there, so we're making it tougher to drive motorcycles through the pedestrian access. And that access, we learned, is really predominantly used by People's Bank employees that go for walks during lunch hour, that type of thing. So we'll provide the full landscaping plan at SESIP, and if there's any other questions I can answer, please ask.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Well, we can.
yeah, we'll continue with the public hearing. If there's anybody else here who would like to speak on the rezone at 514 South 21st Ave and 503 South 22nd Ave from a single-family residential to a planned unit development, this is your time to sound off to this plan commission. All right, I'm going to ask for the last time if there's anybody here who would like to speak to the rezone of 514 South 21st and 503 South 22nd. Okay, I'm going to close this public hearing, and now I guess it's our turn. We're on to item number 3. It's discussion and possible action on rezoning 514 South 21st Avenue from a single-family residential zoning district and 503 22nd Avenue from a single-family residential zoning district to a planned unit development. Looks like Brad has some things to say to us.
Yeah, just a couple follow-ups. The letter that's in the packet is from Richard and Patrick, and that was at the beginning of the process when we first started the street vacation. That's not necessarily their current thoughts. As Tom said, you know, they've been working with the neighbors and REI together to come up with some solutions that we think, not to put words in their mouth, but I think they're generally moving in a positive direction for the neighbors. So I think, again, that this will come back to us for the specifics, but again, that letter they wanted it included at the beginning of the process just to voice some initial concerns, but again, it is moving forward. The other thing, the parking calculations are included in the packet. These are from the developers team. You know, the calculations show that they do have enough for our minimum parking standards, but they want to increase that above that. But the new parking counts will actually still be below our maximum parking counts, so it's kind of in between the min and max where it should be, but it's really up at the high end of where we want parking counts to be in terms of a maximum, but it is within that range. So I guess that's all I got.
Any questions or comments from this body? Yes, Mr. Holcomb.
How did, I noticed when I drove out there that the fence is incredibly close to that house. How did that happen through the vacation of the alley? And, I mean,
The fence that's there now?
yes.
Yeah, that goes back. I don't know. I don't think there was an alley there previously. I think they just put it on the property line. There's kind of, I think you're referring to this area back here?
Yes, that area.
Yeah, it's just tight through there. There really isn't parking there. It's just a drive aisle. I think some cars may try to squeeze in there, but yeah, it's on the commercial property now. I don't know that there's, you know, during the initial approval, there wasn't evidently a setback from the property line. It's probably placed really close to the actual
Okay.
property lines.
But that's a section that's going to have that's going to be 8 feet through the back of that yard and next to the house?
And that home will be removed, and so we'll have actually five
Oh.
feet between the lot line and the home to the south of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're offsetting the fence 5 feet from the lot line.
But then the home that the property owners that wrote the letter, that one is a very close situation with the fence too, isn't it?
Well, that's the home that Brad's got the cursor on, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we met with them here during the street vacation process, and I emailed them a copy of the plans
Okay.
recently, and they haven't emailed back, and Alder Hanke and myself will follow up with them, but we haven't heard from them, so I'm assuming we're all in good standing with them.
Okay.
I did hear from them, and they said they felt heard by both council and you, so thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, the new fence will be further away from their house than the current fence is from the house that'll be removed. There's a little extra space between the property line, and then, like Tom said, they're setting the fence back a little bit, just so it's not right up on their house.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Brueggemann and a second by Bulkin. Any further discussion or questions? All right, I'm going to read this one more time. All in favor of approving the rezone on 514 South 21st Avenue from a single-family residential zoning district and 503 22nd Avenue from a single-family residential zoning district to a planned unit development can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. This goes to council?
Council in November.
In November, so thank you. All right, next up, we have discussion and possible action on preliminary plat for Vistas at Greenwood Hills. You can see at your places, you did have minutes from the Capital Improvement and Street Maintenance Committee. I'm sure you had 30 seconds to at least check them out, but maybe if staff wants to give a little brief on it, that might help us all out.
Sure, I can
Thank you.
attempt to do that. So yeah, it did come from SISM, and this is a preliminary plat. There will be a final plat that comes back. You know, SISM, I guess the main hang-up there was that the public street that's being shown on the plat would run into a private street on the east end. There was some, I guess, some concern about that. That's not typically what happens. There's discussion about a cul-de-sac at the end of the public street before it gets to the privates. Then there was further discussion about providing an easement onto the private property just for trucks to be, snowplow trucks specifically, to be able to turn around and come back on public streets again rather than use the private streets. So that was, if you read the very last sentence of the minutes, you know, they were approved. Again, this is a preliminary plat, contingent upon resolution of all the concerns voiced by engineering, including cul-de-sac or the easement across the private property to get back on the public property. So that's what happened there. I guess, again, it is a preliminary. A final will come back, and we hope that these issues are resolved before then.
Is that something that engineering feels is possible to kind of come to terms with on those?
Yeah, I think they're in conversation with Mr. Wanzerski and others, so I think there's a couple different options that we can do, and I know legal is still working through that private drive possibly becoming public, but that might be a longer-term
Okay.
issue before this is. But this is on a 90-day timeline for moving this forward. If you read through the minutes a little bit, Alan explained that a little bit, so.
So since we do have the petitioner, the folk here, is there anything you'd like to add to this conversation?
I'll make it brief. Jim Wanzerski, 1809 Green Vistas Drive. When we had the preliminary plat done a number of years ago, it was to consist of 16 condominium units. So this would be down to 6 individual single-family lots, so that the residents of the community are very much in favor of it, less traffic, et cetera. So that's the only thing I'd have to add. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything from this body, possibly a motion?
Motion to approve.
Looks like we have a motion to approve from Brueggemann
I'll second.
and a second from Bulkin. Any discussion here? All right, all of those in favor of approving the preliminary plat for Vistas at Greenwood Hills, first edition, can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? All right, this passes unanimously also. All right. Item number 5, next meeting date. I'm looking at,
Third Tuesday of the
it's the
month.
third Tuesday, the 21st of November, which I will just remind you, I guess, that we have moved and adjusted our council meeting, so we'll have that at 6:30, so be prepared to be concise, I suppose. Our second item, number 5, is a motion to adjourn. Would anyone like to make that motion? I have a motion by Alder Herbst and a second by, wow, everyone wants to stick around. Mr. Brueggemann. All in favor of adjournment can signify by saying aye. Any opposition? All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.
Somehow.
I let you have that one every time.
I appreciate it.
Mayor, I would like to invite you to our Citizens Advisory Committee working session. Same, November 7th. It's a Tuesday. She's got a happy hour, 4:45.
So, we do